it's been off and on relationship with SMEs, largely because a lot of banks went into the SME sector, got burnt very badly. Again, because obviously the bigger the customer, the more transparent their accounts are. And so it is something we focus on, and we do try to build on it, but we've had to scrap the earlier model and restart. But I'll say something that pick on something Mohtasham said earlier. There's this, the local banks are very strong in Pakistan.
Yes, they are.
The reason, there's a simple reason. What Citibank and Bank of America are trying to do now which is going back to the bricks and mortars game where they want to be the retail bank. The big local banks are entrenched in the society, and we are very much a retail bank. So most of the profitability that's coming in, which is insulating us from the level of volatility in the corporate sector, is largely because we have a very strong retail network and we have a strong deposit base. That said, I think for HBL it's been about 7 years of privatization, and we've had a lot of things that we could have corrected internally, and which we have, which are adding to the bottom line. And I think that's something that we'll continue to focus on, as well as the retail side. Corporate lending right now, like we all said, it's muted, and there are other issues which are clouding it, and I don't think there's an easy fix until the bigger picture is settled.
What's the easy fix coming out of MCB Bank?
Easy fix. Tough one to answer, but interestingly, we have not gone into the SME space, but finding the corporate space very, very price sensitive in the top tier. We are actually trying to make an inroad into the commercial segment, where the spreads are much more robust. So we are booking the risk. It's business we had done till a while ago, but in the last 3 to 5 years, we had been out of it because the corporate books had grown significantly. And we see an opportunity there, more so because of the fact that, as Amir mentioned, that in that space banks have lost money, but we think there are good track records there. I think Standard Chartered, other than ourselves, is also approaching that space quite aggressively in their own way. We see an opportunity there. You just have to do due diligence, which is way beyond looking at the financial statements in these sectors, but it's doable. It's a longer process. But we think hopefully that over a period of next 2 to 3 years, we can build up a sizable portfolio there.
Now, you talk about niche markets in the region, and coming to you, Irfan, we have Mizan Bank, one of the oldest Islamic banks here, and again, very important local bank, very important in its sphere as well. What are you finding the advantages or disadvantages at the moment when you're seeing?
You see, when we started about 10 years ago into commercial banking, we saw ourselves as a very, a niche player. People who really wanted Islamic finance were coming to us. But gradually, having the first mover advantage, people have that affinity for Islamic finance. We realized that we were developing a lot of different niches. So, we really collected a bouquet of niches. And effectively, unlike what Shahzad is saying, that go in a particular niche. I mean, we've got a niche in corporate and investment banking and consumer lending, into SME, into everything. So, mashallah, over a period of time, Mizan is what I would really say is a universal bank with asset management business, consumer business, corporate business. So we find that the market is there. The consumers are responding, the corporates are responding. We have good, reasonably good size SME portfolio as well. But I mean, we feel that all type of business are coming to the bank. So we don't have now a particular niche. I feel that every business brings a different niche for us. And in terms of challenges, Islamic banking did have a lot of challenges. We had no SLR instrument available initially for the first 5 or 6 years of Islamic banking in Pakistan. So the excess liquidity was parked in nearly zero earning assets. But for the last 3-4 years, the government has issued what is called a sukuk. And as a result, our diversification has happened. So if we have surplus money, it can stay in the government securities, which are SLR eligible as well. So really, I feel that there is no challenges or problems which is facing the Islamic banking industry of any consequence.
Do you want to come in on this? And do the exam at banking, is there more advantages, or are you at a disadvantage? I mean, or it's the market is there and the appetite is there?
On the Islamic banking
Yeah,
side?
the Islamic banking side.
Thanks.
It seems to be, as you said, more a universal bank. Now it's moved out of pure Islamic banking.
Well, when he says a universal bank, I think he means a universal Islamic bank. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's
No,
talking
I
about
do mean universal banking. I mean, we can provide anything which any of our customers sitting here really requires.
Islamic version of every product that we provide. That's
Yeah,
what he was
exactly.
saying.
And you see, I think one of the litmus tests is that when we started, we were the only one for 3 years. Then 5 other Islamic banks came up. One of them got merged, so now it's a total of 5 banks. But there are, I think, 13 or 14 commercial banks, including MCB and Habib Bank, who have reasonably large size window operations of Islamic. So, obviously, since there is a demand, since there's a need, there's a proximity of customers as well. So, obviously, these banks are going in there. So, one day I feel that Pakistan would go, right now there's a market share of about 8% of deposits and assets as well. I feel that, with the players, bigger players like them, there's no reason why it should not go to maybe 20 and 30% during our own career time.
I would like to just open this to the floor. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put a specific question to any of our bankers here on the panel. So just please identify yourself at any time, and we'll certainly make sure you get it, because we probably get about 10 more minutes on this. If we can have a microphone over to this gentleman here who is waiting. And one of the other things I just want to keep you in mind, we'll come back to is the shift in technology and how it's impacting your business to the better or the worse. But sir, please let us know who you are.
My name is Saifuddin Adib. I'm a member of ICAP. It was great of ICAP to have picked up this sustainability at a time when many things do not appear or they are not sustainable. I was reading an article, if Shahzad, if you can, give your comments on this. Lately, I was reading an article painting a very gloomy picture of the state borrowing, largely, and Dr. Saab had referred to the increase in the borrowing. And he was blaming banks also, that banks, they are crowding out the investors, and they are giving their money to government, who are, as was referred to by Dr. Saab also, that law is being consistently violated in terms of borrowing, exceeding their borrowing limits. And banks are crowding out the investors, and they're finding governments, lending to the government more secure and more profitable. And, it's kind of a circle.
I'll give my thoughts, and then I'll have Mohtassim also.
Yeah, if I can finish very quickly. What he was saying was that, since banks are making a lot of profit from out of that borrowing to the government, they are paying taxes also. So government is claiming that their revenue generation has also increased. So that tax generation has also come about owing to this, excessive borrowing from the government. If you can,
Well, let me on that theory, sir. If the government is paying, if they would play, if it was a tax arbitrage, they actually, and you obviously with this August gathering, the math doesn't work, right? They're only getting 0.35% of what they're giving out. So I don't think it's a tax arbitrage game that the government is playing. I think why are banks giving to government? I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? If government aapse paisa le rahi hai at CIBOR plus 200 or CIBOR plus 100 or whatever, and it's deemed to be risk-free, then, or better risk than any other corporate sitting in this room deemed to be, then why would you not give money to them? Because again, as started off by Athene, banks have to make money also. They also have stakeholders. They also have shareholders. So I think it's clearly having a large borrower out there who is deemed to be better credit than anybody else will clearly make good risk officers think about giving money to them. Now, is that mean a good project being bought by the private sector is being turned down? I don't necessarily think that. And again, I'll let the bigger banks make that comment.
I'll build on that.
Yeah.
Okay. For